Hello everyone, welcome to Laser Monkey Chess, and today I'm going to be analyzing a game I played just a couple hours ago at the Montreal Chess Club in the second round of Les Tournois du Mercredi, October 16th. This was against Marc Geryl, Templonuevo. I had the white pieces, and the time control is an hour and 15 minutes per side with a 30-second increment. I didn't use too much of that time, but in the moments that it counted, I did think. So I opened with c4. This is my first ever game playing c4. He replied with knight f6, so I figured knight c3, I'll control this. And if he plays e5, then we can get into some reverse Sicilian. I'm not too familiar with that, but he didn't. He played e6, and here I decided to play g3. Try and mix it up. Clearly, I don't know any opening theory. Apparently, this is the hedgehog system, Anglo-Indian defense. I think that's what he's playing. So d5, and here I guess bishop g2 is a move. I was concerned about what would happen after d4, so I played d4 myself. D takes c4, bishop g2, taking control of this very nice long diagonal. I'm willing to sacrifice this pawn here on c4. If you turn on the engine doesn't really mind that I'm down a pawn here. And it doesn't throughout the game. This pawn is not super valuable as long as I have this really strong bishop on g2. And, the combination of the bishop pair really does make itself felt in this game, as you'll see. So after I played bishop g2, I played c6. I was concerned about c5. I guess I would have played just queen a4 check and take or something, but c6 was played. So I'm going to go ahead, develop my pieces. Knight f3 aims to get the knight here to e5, and if I can get the knight to e5 and I can pressure this pawn, and I can open my bishop up on this diagonal, maybe attack the rook here, that could be very good for me. So that is why I played knight f3, and that is exactly why I played knight bd7 to stop my knight from coming to e5 without me taking it. So I decided to castle right away. There were a lot of lines where I wanted to recapture this queen. If, say, this file opened up and queen takes queen, I did want to capture with the rook, so that is why I castled. So in this position, he played b5, and this is where I think he starts to go kind of wrong. I mean, this is not an objectively bad move, but I felt that my position was just a lot easier to play, because if you see his pieces, he's got 2 pieces out, and I've got 3 pieces out, and my king is castled. So I have a huge lead in development here. e4 is the objectively optimal move, but I've played a lot of positions like this, and they're not so fun. So I played knight e5. Knight e5, obviously threatening this pawn. So basically he plays the only move, knight takes e5, and here he decides to trade queens. Probably a good idea. And the only move, knight d5. So here I have a lot of ways to play. The computer suggests bishop e3, which I actually was considering, but I didn't really like the look of tripling my pawns here after this. I guess I do have this in-betweener, so never mind. I didn't see that, but after bishop b7, what am I doing with my bishop? So I did end up playing knight e4, and after bishop b7, I had a quick think here, and I thought I would go for knight d6. And now the computer doesn't really love the move knight d6, as you can see over here. It doesn't hate it either. But knight d6 does fork the king and the bishop, and after bishop takes, I'm going to have this pass pawn here. And if he had played the move king d7, note that he can never take this pawn because e4 wins the knight, because my rook pins it. But it certainly is establishing a very nice blockade. But after this move, after here, he didn't play that. What did he play? I think he castled. Yeah, he castled. And after he castled, I was feeling pretty good about my position. e4, just aiming to kind of control the center here. I did want to bring my bishop to e3, but I didn't feel too good about bringing it right away. So I tried to bring my bishop to e3 first. So here, I brought my bishop to e3 and knight d7, blockading my pass pawn. If for instance a move like f6 was played, I do have the option of taking off this knight, but also, you know, getting on. I mean, I wouldn't do it immediately, but like, I feel like my pressure is pretty good. Like there are a lot of ways I can play. Maybe rook c1, not sure. Anyways, knight d7 makes the most sense. And then here I played f4, just trying to stop this knight from coming here, and just expanding on the king side. And here I am still down a pawn, but I do have the bishop pair, and the bishop pair is almost full compensation according to the computer. In human terms, I'd say it's full compensation. I feel like it's very easy to play with this. I'm going to turn the engine off here. Or maybe we'll keep it on. Okay. So, after f4, my opponent played rook to c8. And here I decided to just play... Oh, wait. No. Is that what happened? What happened after f4? I'm checking my... Okay, c5. That's what I thought. Okay, so c5. c5 was played, really opening up this bishop, because unless c5 is played, I'm going to play e5. And this bishop will be forever stupid. So that is why c5 was played. Expanding. And the reason I never play a4 here is because just a6, and then really I think this mass of pawns really dominates my two pawns here. So I never want to play a4. I want to keep my pawns close to home. So after c5, this is a really tricky position because, yes, the potential of my bishops is good, but there's nothing I can really do here. This is a very equal position because there's no way to make progress for me. This knight very nicely blockades my pawn, and so there's nothing much to do. So I figured, okay, we want to eventually put pressure on these two pawns, so we're going to play rook c1, right? So if ever b4 is played, I can take this. If ever, you know, a4 is played and this takes, I can take it. You know, just aiming to put the rook in a better position. I'm not sure what the computer was suggesting. Okay, a4 right away. I didn't see that as a very human move, just because, again, a6, and then, like, where do you go from there? So keeping the tension, letting my opponent make a mistake. So let's see what happened after this. I'm struggling to remember. I believe rook fc8, and then I did play h4. Just another waiting move, and I figured also h4 is a really good move to control the g5 square. As you'll see later in the game, controlling the g5 square ends up actually being a very important subtlety in the position. So it's really good that I ended up playing that here. And here I think my opponent makes a mistake, a5. I think this move is really bad because, as I mentioned earlier, if ever I was going to play a4 to try and break up this pawn mass, he would just respond with a6. But now that a5 is played, I can play a4, and there's no way to defend this pawn which doesn't break up the mass, right? If you take, well, then you have two isolated double pawns, so I can take here, and now even though I'm still down a pawn in this position, I'm much better because I'm going to be picking off all of these pawns. They're super weak, and they're really my single pawn can hold all of them along with my rooks and minor pieces. In the game, he played bishop c6, and then I can just take. And the advantage with this is not only does it separate these two pawn islands, which makes all three of those pawns much weaker, but it allows me to play this move e5, freeing my bishop on the diagonal without having it traded. And here he chose to play rook b8. And I think this is really where the game heats up. So what did I play in this position? I forgot something earlier. So in this position, he played f6, or he played here. Or I think here he played f6. So I could go for like bishop h3, but that doesn't do anything after king f7. So I never want to induce my opponent to make a useful move, because king f7 is bringing the king closer, and then I just have to play bishop g2 back. So although it looks appealing, maybe you played in bullet, hyper bullet. In a classical game, no way. Okay, so then after this, I played... Okay, so here's what I forgot. So after rook c8, I played king f2, waiting move, f6, h4, controlling the g5 square, stopping the break g5. And then a5 was played. a4. Takes. Oh, wait. No, bishop c6 was played. And then this is where I take, and then I played e5. And this move has a lot of poison, because if you play bishop c6, then you know, I'm just gonna sit tight, right? Maybe bishop f1 like the computer says. Really anything. I might even go for f5 as I did in the game, or bishop h3 and then f5. In the game, he played rook b8, and here I played the #1 move, f5. f5 is a really nice idea here. The aim is to get 2 connected pass pawns on the 6th rank. So if he plays e takes f5, I play e6. And then I have 2 beautiful pawns, completely winning. If he does king f7, I mean, there are a lot of ways to take advantage of this. I figured like takes, and you know, something here would be good. Maybe bishop check. I mean, after taking on f6. King f7 was probably the best try. If takes here, again, I'm taking on e6, getting connected past pawns. And as he played in the game, knight takes e5, f takes e6. And here his idea was to go for knight d3. And here I don't really care about losing the exchange, because my connected past pawns are probably worth a rook in this scenario. So, you know, often connected passers on the 6th, they're worth a rook. So as you can see by the computer evaluation, that's about what this position is. Bishop c1, take back. I could have taken with the rook, but I really wanted to make sure that like this area was free, and you know. So bishop a4 makes sense. Rook e1, defending the pawn, and then rook here. And then I played bishop e4, #1 move. And after king h8, I just took this pawn on c4. I'm going to turn the engine off at this point, because it is winning. So I just played bishop c4, and here my opponent blundered pretty massively. Let's see how much of a blunder this is. Yeah, g6. So here the computer suggests this move. I just played bishop d2. The variations here are if rook takes b2, then I can play bishop c3, and I'm threatening to take this with ensuing checkmate, and I'm threatening to take the rook. So say if you go here, then I take, check, over, checkmate. Oh wait, that's not checkmate. Okay, bishop e4. I don't know, checkmate's coming. Anyways, I would have seen that in the game. Anyways, my opponent didn't play that. He played here. And here I have a choice between bishop c3 and bishop f4. I decided that bishop f4 gave me a lot better winning chances, just because it freed up my rook. And I think keeping control of this g5 break is really good, because I had this idea g4, g5, break this open, and then try and deliver mate with that same idea of bishop e5 and then e7. If not mate, then at least winning a lot of material, pushing my pawns to victory. So bishop c6 was played, and then I played g4. And after g4, my opponent somehow found the brilliant h6. Really, this is an only move, because you do have to do something to get your king some space. So give your king some space on h7, because the g8 square is off bounds because of this bishop on c4. And that square, it's not going to be good once I play g5. So h6 makes sense, and I went for g5. Same idea, trying to get my bishop on e5 and deliver checkmate. So takes, and then king g7. And here it's choosing between a lot of winning variations. I chose this one with rook f1. Seems simple to me. Right now I'm threatening stuff like bishop h6 check, bringing the king into the middle. But what happened in the game, bishop e4, I now played e7. And here every single rook move loses and not moving the rook loses. So bishop here, then I would probably play bishop b5, just skewering these two pieces. I guess the computer suggests this move, very precise, with the idea of, oh, just going down there. There are a lot of ways this wins. If this is played, then obviously this is a fork, so you win one of the rooks and maybe get a queen as well. And if this move is played, then you get just this move again, and you take this with check, or you get a queen. And in the game, my opponent played rook a8, and I played here, takes, and then I played bishop b8 check, the winning move. And here my opponent resigned because whatever he does, I'm going to get a queen. And the queen cannot be taken, so I am just up like a queen here. So that was my game against Mark Geryl Templonuevo. Beautiful game. Yeah, this is a really nice position here with the bishop coming here and the rook giving check. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. This is Laser Monkey from Laser Monkey Chess. Out.